California is finally waking up, but seriously, guys, how long did it take? I mean, like, how many businesses had to shut their doors before someone decided, hey, maybe we shouldn't let people walk out with cartloads full of stolen stuff, right? Like Walmart and Targets and CVS's and just all sorts of businesses, not even mention small businesses and mom and pop stores had to shut their doors because of the previous laws in California. And these alleged shoplifters, they're shocked by Prop 36. Really, guys? So you're not upset because stealing is wrong, but because the rules changed? Come on. So I'm glad Prop 36 finally went through. Governor Gavin Newsom, he must be heartbroken watching his soft on crime policies finally crumble. Now, honestly, guys, who would have guessed that not punishing theft would lead to, I don't know, more theft? So stupid, right? Like, it's insane that we had to pass this new law to treat crime like, I don't know, crime. Like, what's next? Biden handing out participation trophies for criminals. Meanwhile, Trump makes a move to buy Panama Canal. Like, this is the kind of nonsense that really makes you kind of lose faith in common sense. But let's hear it, guys. Like, what do you guys think about this? Like, are these laws too little too late? Let me know in the comments. By the way, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I got some clips I want to show y'all too. A recently viral video shows the moments that two shoplifters discuss Prop 36 or Proposition 36, one of the new laws that went into effect in California that now makes stealing a felony while sitting in the back of a police car, giving these girls something to think about.
That's a felony? Bitch, new laws. Stealing is a felony. And this is Orange County, bitch. They don't play. That's why I asked what county is this. That's where I went to jail last year and got on probation for a year for stealing out of Target.
Now, a recently viral video captured by the Seal Beach Police Department offers a very fascinating look into how shoplifting suspects discuss California's new Proposition 36 while sitting in the back of a patrol car. Proposition 36 is a new law that now makes certain kinds of theft a felony. So the video shared on Sunday actually shows three suspects that were caught stealing over $1,600 worth of merchandise from multiple stores on December 4th. Now, the suspects, Destiny Bender, 24, Deanna Hines, 24, both of the Long Beach and Michelle Pitts, 26 of Signal Hill, began their spree at Ulta Beauty Store around 7:12 p.m. From there, basically, the police are saying that they stole nearly $650 worth of beauty products. Less than an hour later, the trio then entered a Kohl's store where they reportedly took more than $1,180 worth of items. Surveillance footage actually shows them walking through the parking lot with a whole bunch of these stolen items in their hands. Now, the video then cuts to a very dramatic body cam footage showing police chasing the suspects through a parking lot. So obviously the chase ended with all of them being arrested as detailed in the statement. But the suspects were charged with grand theft, conspiracy to commit a crime, and also resisting arrest. So yeah, this kind of makes this case particularly noteworthy for the simple fact that the suspects' very candid conversation in a police car where they discussed the implications of Proposition 36 on their actions. Now, obviously, they didn't pay any attention to what you say can and will be used against you in the court of law, because I'm pretty sure that this will be used against them in the court of law, right? So this law, which has recently gone into effect as part of California's ongoing efforts to address theft and shoplifting. And it's now treating larger thefts as felonies rather than just misdemeanors. So the Seal Beach Police Department video has drawn a lot of attention, really now highlighting like not only the crimes committed, but also the suspects' awareness of legal changes in California. The Seal Beach Police Department emphasized their dedication to cracking down on retail theft in the video's caption, which kind of cheekily warned, remember folks, Don't steal and seal. So the montage set to Nancy Sinatra's "These Boots Are Made for Walking" really just kind of underscores the department's commitment to reinforcing Proposition 36 and tackling the organized retail theft ring. Now, the video has drawn a lot of widespread attention, not only for the bold actions of these criminals, of these alleged shoplifters, but Proposition 36 is aiming to hold individuals accountable for theft, and it's sending a very clear and loud message to crimes or criminals committing these crimes that, hey, it's no longer going to get treated lightly. So I wonder what Governor Gavin Newsom has to say about this. And we're seeing this on the heels of President-elect Donald Trump heading back into the White House in just a few more weeks here, folks. Inauguration date scheduled January 20th, 2025. On Monday, President Joe Biden made a highly controversial decision to commute the death sentences of 37 individuals who were on death row. In fact, this announcement, it came just 2 days before families of their victims were set to gather for Christmas, sparking a lot of widespread outrage, borderline riots in the streets. President Joe Biden, he defended this decision, stating, "I condemn these murderers and grieve for the victims of their despicable acts. But guided by my conscience and my experience, I'm more convinced than ever that we must stop the use of the death penalty." Now, that quote came from Joe Biden himself. Now, one of the cases gained a lot of attention, and it involves Donna Major, who was convicted in 2017 for her role in a bank robbery that resulted in a murder. Now, Donna Major's death sentence was among those who were commuted by President Joe Biden. Her family, including her daughter, Heather Turner, and her husband, Danny Major, expressed absolute anger over the decision, feeling that it just undermines the justice for victims like their loved one. So Heather Turner, Danny Major, along with Katie Jenkins, another family member impacted by these commutations, have voiced their outrage publicly. And they argue that President Joe Biden's actions ignore the devastating impact that these crimes have had on their families and believe the timing. Can you believe the timing, like this close to Christmas? All it does is add to the pain that they're already dealing with, right? So the controversy surrounding this decision of Joe Biden's, it just highlights the emotional and the moral complexities of the death penalty, this whole debate, and obviously the impact that it's having on victims' families. And unfortunately, we have some of the victims' families right here.
By President Biden. I'm sorry to be talking to all three of you under these circumstances. I cannot even put myself in your position to know how difficult this would be any week, but especially Christmas week. Heather, what was your reaction when you heard the news?
Anger, absolute anger. We were told from our prosecution team on Sunday afternoon. I was actually gathered with my in-laws for our family Christmas. My sister was gathered with her in-laws, and we got the call, and I was angry. I'm still angry. I am upset that this is even happening, that one man can make this decision without even talking to the victims, without any regard for what we've been through, what we're going through. I'm completely hurt, frustrated, and angry.
So Heather, nobody gave you a heads up that this was coming from the White House?
So in May, we heard that this was a possibility. And at that point, we began writing letters to the pardon attorney. I reached out requesting an in-person meeting in DC, and we were refused. They denied our right to have our voices heard. We're victims. My mother was murdered at the hands of Brandon Hansel. They should have heard our story. And all we got was a 10-minute virtual conference. And clearly that fell on deaf ears. They did not want to hear our story.
Danny, Joe Biden, or whoever made this decision, because it is entirely unclear whether this came from him directly or his people, he's showing mercy to your wife's killer. Was your wife shown any mercy?
She was shown no mercy at all. This man walked into the bank, never said 2 words to her, shot her 3 times in total, went and shot her coworker, Katie Skeen, as well, who was totally defenseless and unaware that anything was happening. It's just beyond me that I can't even believe that this has actually happened, a commuting of sentences like this of 37 victims, all but 3, which was certainly a political scheme that undoubtedly. Joe Biden was also told by the Pope that he should stop these executions. Now, what the Pope has to do with anything in this country, I don't know. But Joe Biden certainly has no convictions. He's a senile old man. He couldn't tie his shoes, I wouldn't think, if you could see him in person. It's absolutely disgusting.
Wow. Unbelievable, guys. Drop me your thoughts, guys. Do you think Biden's doing the right thing by commuting these horrible people? Or do you think that that he should not be commuting these people and not showing mercy and ignoring, should he be taking the victims' situations and the pain that they have been dealing with into consideration and just not commute anyone? Or should he show mercy, like the Pope says, and commute and get rid of this death penalty? Y'all let me know in the comments, guys. But yeah, so the White House has raised some urgent concerns about Iran's growing proximity to developing nuclear weapons. This is a situation that could easily escalate tensions in the Middle East. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, he recently briefed President-elect Donald Trump's transition team, warning of Tehran's potential to abandon its earlier commitments to avoid pursuing nuclear arms. Now, guys, this development has prompted serious discussions within Trump's team about possible airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities once Trump assumes office. Now, the situation is fueled by Iran's weakened regional influence, partly due to a series of Israeli strikes on Iranian targets. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has also vowed to take further action against Iranian proxy forces operating in Yemen, intensified the already volatile situation. Now, Iran, on the other hand, has protested U.S. sanctions and arrests of its citizens accused of transferring sensitive technology, increasing hostility between the two nations. Now, adding to the gravity of this whole situation here, you got the United Nations Atomic Energy Regulator has confirmed that Iran is nearing the capability to produce a nuke, or I should say, multiple nukes or nuclear weapons. Now, this revelation complicates any effort to revive the 2015 nuclear deal, which was designed to curb Iran's nuclear ambitions. With Iran's nuclear potential advancing and tensions escalating, the international community is facing mounting pressures on addressing this crisis. Now, of course, Donald Trump's incoming administration is reportedly considering a shift from the previous administration's diplomatic strategies to becoming a lot more aggressive with their military options. Now, Trump, he's known for his bold approach for foreign policy. And of course, he's evaluating whether to dismantle Iran's nuclear sites through airstrikes. This is a move that could theoretically define or redefine U.S. engagement in that particular Middle Eastern region. Now, obviously, as the situation unfolds, President-elect Trump's decision is going to likely shape the future of the U.S.-Iran relations and the broader stability of the Middle East. The stakes are very, very high, with both White House and international observers looking real closely, and they're watching how Trump plans on handling this critical issue as soon as he takes office. Are we seriously watching history repeat itself while nobody bats an eye? Kevin O'Leary, he's out here warning about riots in the streets the second that Trump's China tariff kicks in, and it just kind of feels like everybody's just shrugging it off. Meanwhile, the White House is briefing Trump on Iran being this close to a nuclear bomb, and we're all supposed to just kind of like trust that diplomacy will magically fix this. Really? Like, they're about to make a nuke. I don't feel all that comfortable about that. Do you guys? Oh, and let's not forget about Joe Biden commuting killer after killer on death row right before the holidays. Christmas is tomorrow, guys. By the way, Merry Christmas, everybody. And they're leaving victims' families in an absolute fury. And now Trump's reigniting a firestorm with Panama over the canal like it's 1904 all over again. Like, are these the moves of a world heading toward solutions, the end of times, or maybe a powder keg waiting to blow? Because honestly, at this point, I mean, like, how can anybody like stay quiet about what's about to come next, which we are about to talk about in this video? By the way, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you appreciate the content. Let's jump in. The White House has informed President-elect Trump of a growing risk that Iran could attempt to build a nuclear bomb after its influence in the Middle East has been significantly weakened by recent events. In fact, Joe Biden's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, he briefed Trump's transition team about the potential for Tehran to abandon its promise not to pursue nuclear weapons. Now, Jake Sullivan, he emphasized the importance of being vigilant in threat monitoring. All right. So this is legit. Now, this warning comes as Donald Trump's preparing to take office, and it's reportedly he's reportedly considering military options, including airstrikes, to dismantle Iran's nuclear facilities. Now, Jake Sullivan, he highlighted that Iran's position in the region has been severely compromised due to Israeli strikes on Iranian allies, including Hamas in Palestine and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Additionally, the fall of Bashar al-Assad, Syria's Iranian-aligned president, has further eroded Tehran's regional influence. Now, Jake Sullivan, he reiterated his comments stating, hey, it's a risk that we are trying to be vigilant about right now. He also shared that he has been consulting with Israel, a key U.S. ally, about the implications of Iran's potential nuclear escalation. Now, these developments, they place significant pressure on the incoming Trump administration in order to decide exactly how to address Iran's nuclear ambitions and to maintain stability in the region. Now, of course, the Biden administration has raised alarms about the real risk of Iran shifting its stance on nuclear weapons and moving toward a nuclear bomb. Jake Sullivan, national security advisor, has told CNN that, he's been personally briefing President-elect Donald Trump's incoming team on the escalating threat. Sullivan emphasized the need for vigilance, explaining that basically Iran's nuclear ambitions might change as the country reacts to regional pressures and military losses. Now, Iran has long claimed its nuclear program is going to be peaceful. Hey, we're not going to do anything. We just want nuclear energy, yada, yada, yada. However, its actions, including exceeding international limits on uranium enrichment and accelerating its nuclear activities, have raised a whole lot of concerns. Recent statements from high-ranking Iranian officials, including Kamal Karazi, an advisor to Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, have hinted that Tehran might revise its nuclear doctrine if its nuclear facilities come under attack. Now, the calls for pursuing nuclear weapons in Iran have grown a lot louder following Israeli airstrikes that have targeted Iran's air defense systems. Israel's military, observing Iran's weakened position in the region, believes that the Islamic Republic may now prioritize developing a nuclear bomb. If they were to move forward with that, that would be potentially catastrophic for any of Iran's, let's just say, non-allies. Now, former President Donald Trump, or I should say President-elect Donald Trump, and the current president of Panama are sparring over the strategic control of the Panama Canal. This is a very strategic passageway that has long been a focal point of global trade and the U.S. national security concerns. So this debate comes amid broader discussions about the U.S. geopolitical strategy, including Trump's interest in Greenland and his critique of past decisions regarding the canal. Alex Gray, former national security official, he recently wrote about the historic significance of Greenland and, of course, the Panama Canal. Gray praised Trump as a bold leader who follows in the footsteps of figures like Abraham Lincoln, who considered acquiring Greenland back in the 1860s, and Ronald Reagan, who famously warned against the 1970s decision to relinquish control of the Panama Canal. Now, Gray criticized giving up the canal as a foolhardy strategic decision, and he argued that Trump, much like Ronald Reagan, recognizes the importance of these assets to U.S. national security.
Who would actually go for that?
Well, there are a lot of things you can do to create an environment where
We can take over the defense of Greenland. We can take over a significant part of the national security obligations that Denmark currently has for Greenland. The Greenlanders have said publicly they're going to get independence at some point. So the question is, when they get independence, are the Chinese and the Russians going to be there to greet them and to do things that certainly are not in the sovereign interests of the Greenlandic people? Or is it going to be the United States who's there to make sure that both our security and the sovereignty of the Greenlanders themselves are protected? And I would much rather have Donald Trump waiting for the Greenlanders when they get independence than Xi Jinping.
I mean, it really is a gorgeous place, albeit cold. I also wanted to ask you about Trump and the Panama Canal, because he seems to be in a little bit of an online feud with the president, Jose Raul Molino. Jose Raul Molino said of Trump saying that he would take back ownership of the canal, said, quote, "As president, I want to express precisely that every square meter of the Panama Canal and its adjacent area belong to Panama and will continue to be. The sovereignty and independence of our country are non-negotiable," to which, as Jackie pointed out, Trump posted a picture of the bow of a ship transiting the canal with an American flag on it saying, "Welcome to the United States Canal." I mean, obviously, this is just leverage to try to lower fees. Is there any way Trump could take it back?
Well, I think we should have a serious discussion about the failure of the United States under the Carter administration to give up one of our most significant strategic points in the world. It was one of the greatest American engineering and strategic achievements of the 20th century. Let's have a conversation about what has happened in the last 10, 15 years, where China is now dominating the Panama Canal and threatening our interests in the Western Hemisphere. I think President Trump is in a great position to talk seriously about what it would look like for the United States to enter into some sort of negotiation with Panama to have a future stake, a more comprehensive American stake in something we built with American blood, sweat, and tears under Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, and then there's the trolling of Justin Trudeau, which this president continues to do mercilessly. Here's what he said on Wednesday on Truth Social. "No one can answer why we subsidize Canada to the tune of over $100 million a year. Makes no sense. Many Canadians want Canada to become the 51st state. They would save massively on taxes and military protection. I think it's a great idea. 51st state." Now, I say this as a person who was born in Canada and emigrated to the United States back in 1989, became a U.S. citizen a week after 9/11. For Canadians, it would save them 30% going to Disney World if they were using American dollars instead of Canadian dollars.
Well, in addition to that, John, it'd be nice if the Canadians would spend more than 1.3% of their GDP on defense and actually start contributing to protecting North America. So, you know, in addition to Disney World, it'd be great if we could get some help from them defending our shared border and defending the Arctic.
Now, Trump's approach to Greenland, according to Gray, it really just kind of emphasizes his deal-making skills, such as when he purchased Mar-a-Lago for $7 million back in 2019. So reports are now emerging that Trump even floated the idea of trading Puerto Rico to Denmark in exchange for Greenland, a proposal that's met with a lot of skepticism, but reflective of his unorthodox negotiation style. Now, Gray argued that Greenland holds immense value due to its mineral wealth and its strategic location for defense purposes. Now, I gotta ask you guys, what do you think about trading Puerto Rico for Greenland? Comment down below. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button. Thanks so much for joining me on this live this evening. Merry Christmas to you guys in just a couple of hours. Hope you guys are doing well, and you guys are pretty much in the house for the evening and getting ready for the festivities in just a little bit. But anyway, thanks so much for liking the video and subscribing. You guys are awesome. Now, in the context of Panama, Trump has expressed regret over the U.S. Essentially ceding control over the canal, emphasizing its strategic importance for defense and trade. Now, Gray highlighted that Trump's willingness to revisit such issues, it really just kind of demonstrates his commitment to protecting U.S. interests. Regarding Greenland, though, Alex Gray, he pointed out that the island's path forward toward independence raises a lot of concerns about potential influence from nations like China and Russia. He argued that the U.S., under a leader like Trump, would be much better positioned to support Greenland's sovereignty and to be able to protect its resources. Now, Gray concluded that Trump's assertiveness on issues like the Panama Canal and Greenland really kind of underscores his focus on strengthening U.S. security and ensuring strategic assets remain under friendly control, if you know what I mean. Now, also, at a rally in Arizona, former President Donald Trump made a lot of waves regarding suggesting his administration might attempt to regain control over the Panama Canal. This is a very crucial waterway linking the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans. So Trump criticized the United States' 1970s decision to hand over control of the canal to Panama, basically calling it foolish. And he claimed that the fees that are charged to shippers for using the canal are ridiculous. Now, I mean, me not being like overly familiar with the actual transaction of giving the canal to Panama, you would think that if we were to give it away, that there would be something in the contract that would at least say, hey, the United States will never, ever be charged anything to use this thing since it was a gift from the United States. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. But Panama's president, Jose Raul Molino, he was elected on a pro-business platform. He strongly rejected Trump's remarks. Molino saw the suggestion as a direct challenge to Panama's sovereignty, emphasizing that the canal is a vital symbol of national pride and independence for the Central American nation. So Trump's comments, they basically came during his speech at Turning Point USA's America Fest in Phoenix, Arizona. And this was his first major rally since winning the presidency on November 5th, mind you. But speaking to a crowd of over 20,000 conservatives, Trump laid out his vision for a renewed golden age of America. Rather optimistic, mind you. He promised that his administration would strengthen the economy, secure the U.S. borders, and resolve conflicts in the Middle East and the Ukraine. Now, the rally was a stark contrast to the recent turmoil on Capitol Hill, where Republicans under Trump's influence disrupted a bipartisan budget deal. A lot of people are just kind of a little bit upset about that, but it looks like things have pretty much settled down. Now, Trump, from his Mar-a-Lago resort, and his ally, billionaire Elon Musk, they opposed raising the nation's debt ceiling. And I think it was for good reason. This is a move that could have avoided future financial battles. Despite the tension, Congress managed to avoid a government shutdown, though the issue of the debt ceiling was ultimately left unresolved. Trump did not directly address the congressional chaos during the speech, but he did respond to rumors about Elon Musk's growing influence within the White House, referring to claims that Elon Musk might be taking control of his presidency. Trump reassured his audience, no, this is not happening. Okay, we'll see. Now, Trump's remarks about the Panama Canal highlighted his broader strategy of revisiting past decisions that he views as detrimental to U.S. interests. However, they also set up a potential diplomatic clash with Panama, with President Molino firmly opposing any suggestion of relinquishing control of the canal. Now, the controversy really just further underscores Trump's aggressive approach to reshaping U.S. policy and his willingness to stir international debate in pursuit of what he deems national priorities. Now, guys, these are some big decisions that Trump's about to make as soon as he comes into office, between nukes coming out of Iran, possible airstrikes. Obviously, we've got the ongoing drone situation that Trump believes that our government is not cueing the American people in on regarding what's going on with all of these different drones, 6-foot drones that are size of buses and SUVs that are pretty much flying manned and unmanned drones all over a large part of the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, and other areas in the vicinity. I've even heard from folks in Connecticut and Florida saying that they're seeing drones. We even got recent drone reports in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So there's a lot that Trump is about to walk into on Inauguration Day on January 20th, 2025. But what are your thoughts, guys? Is anybody worried about what's coming up, what we're hearing, these reports, or more importantly, what they're not telling us? Let me know your thoughts, guys. Hit the like button if you appreciate the content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Check out our previous videos, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
The only way to make it work with the supreme leader, as I like to call him, is to inflict massive economic pain and risk on him by imposing tariffs on sectors where many Chinese people are employed. I have nothing against Chinese people. I have a lot against their government. And the only way to put him at risk is to say, look, if you want to mess with the largest economy you trade with, then we're going to force a lot of people that make yoga mats or electronics or whatever else it is to be unemployed in your cities. They'll be rioting in the streets, they won't have any bread, and you will be out of power. That is the only way it's going to work. So very selected, high-impact weaponry, like tariffs, but you've got to be hardcore. He only understands the stick.
Wow. Riots in the streets, bread lines. So the question is, will China's President Xi Jinping cave or nah?
With the stroke of my pen on day one, we're going to stop the transgender lunacy. And I will sign executive orders to end child sexual mutilation. And we will keep men out of women's sports.
I just can't believe that Democrats are just going so hard with this, that, you know, saying that men can't play women's sports get you elected. Like, unbelievable. Like, just completely unbelievable. Do y'all support men playing in women's sports? I don't. Like, what are you, a tree, a dog, a cat, a non-binary? Well, whatever you are, according to the federal government, it looks like you're not any of those things. You're either a man or you're a woman. Is Trump right or wrong on that?
I'm sorry to be talking to all three of you under these circumstances. I cannot even put myself in your position to know how difficult this would be any week, but especially Christmas.